everyone, I'm Sudeepthi Dondapati. We've been dealing with an important topic for all these days. The reason why you will have to appear for your TCS NQT National Qualifier Test. So, not just one single topic, but collective topics actually. So, something which is very essential for your exam, and something which is very repetitive, and the topics which are repetitive, the topics which are very essential. So we have picked up a few questions from those topics, and we are practicing all that. So let us get started with this part 5. So if you can really remember, what did we do in the last 4 sessions? So this is going to be a fifth session, and in all 4 sessions, what we tried to discuss, or we try to solve some errors, and how to identify errors, and how to find out the answer. So now you are very much acquainted with the pattern of our exam. Hope you know all those important guidelines. So you have foundational phase, and another one is advanced phase, and part of this foundational phase you will have to appear, or you have to take this verbal ability exam English, and for which you are preparing, for which you are going through all these questions. So these questions are pretty easy once you practice, once you get familiarized with the context, with the practice, with the questions, with this kind of, get used to mentality is very essential for resolving any type of question, or resolving any type of problem, or for resolving any complexity. Right. So in the previous sessions, we saw to that we try to identify some errors, and that errors occurred at word level, at sentence level, and at paragraph level, right? And so we discussed error identification. Now we will look at another crucial segment or topic, that is, it's like, you will have to arrange some kind of mixed up sentences, scrambled sentences, which are not at all in order. So why? So the title for that is something you can say paragraph completion, or say like complete paragraph improvement, paragraph completion, or scrambled sentences, so jumbled sentences, so you can name it in any way. So with this title, or with these titles, you may have to take up these questions. So now if you can really look at the screen, you can see arrange them in order. What is that? So they're not going to say whether it's a word or sentence, because it is pretty obvious on the paper itself, or on the screen here. So we did nearly 87 questions in all 4 sessions. So we will continue with the rest of the questions, starting with the question number 88. So 87 questions completely were on errors at different levels, at grammar level, at sentence level, so all these things. So today we'll take another diversion, which is all about arranging in order, or arranging different sentences, or arranging different thoughts, different aspects in a neatly structured way, right? So now if there is a question like this, arrange them in order. Now what are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? So what are some strategies you can really follow? What are some tips you can really follow? So a question like, there is no heading, obviously the paragraph will be without heading. Once a heading, or once the title or the theme is given, then there is no challenge for you. The information is completely disclosed, and you don't have to find any riddle there. So that is the reason you have to find out the theme. What is the theme? What is the main aspect? And now you don't have to particularly answer to a question like theme. What's the theme of the paragraph? But then you can straight away discuss the answers, right? See, now there is a question like this, and now how are you going to do it? So I'll also discuss some tips and strategies you can really look for when you are dealing and resolving these questions. So for now, we will start with one question and then try and see if you can really deal with this, or if you can really easily crack the answer for this question. Here are more than 20 major languages and several hundred minor ones, and it is the home of several major religions. Right? You see options like A, B, C, D, and I do not know. I won't tell you the order as of now. You will have to find out the order. So it started like this. Here are more than 20 major languages and several hundred minor ones, and it is a home of several major religions. Now B, there are 7 million indigenous peoples living in different parts of the country. Third, in spite of all this diversity, we share a common landmass. In spite of all these diversities, we share a common landmass. Next one, India is a land of continental proportions and common and immense diversities. India is a land of continental proportions and immense diversities. Now you can understand it is about India and some kind of culture related issues, or it's kind of regional, or it's kind of like religious and all these things, right? So you can see now this reflects kind of like geographical, sociological, and all these aspects are intermingled, and now you have to find out the thread appropriate and sequence thread here. Here are more than 20 major languages. Now do you really start with the information that there are 20 major languages and several hundred minor ones, or do you really start with the quoting the number of people, million indigenous people living in different parts of the country, or do you really talk about the diversity? So in spite of this, even though this is like this, they share a common landmass. So what is that? Do you really talk about the unity and diversity element there, or you are just introducing the element like India is a land of continental proportions and immense diversity? Generally, you will start with the introduction. You will introduce an idea. So when you introduce an idea, what are you doing there? Is like you are trying to structure them in an order. So firstly, you will have to, without talking about the head, you cannot talk about the tail. So you have to talk about the head. Now what is this head now? What is his head? The head will be the kind of introduction. Introduction is very important. So you have to introduce the theme there. Now what is the theme there? Now you are not worried about the theme title or what is the name of the theme, but you are introducing the matter, and that is like India is a land of continental proportions and immense diversities. So now see, this is introducing the theme now. So this can form this the first element, the first option to be taken. Yes, India is a land of continental proportions and common diversity. Now next, how do you really talk about? Here are more than 20 major languages and several hundred minor ones, and it is a home of several major religions. Or do you talk about several option B, that is like several million indigenous people living in different parts of the day? Now D, B, C, A. So will A come first, or like will D comes? What is that comes first here? D comes first because it is introducing. I have given you a clue. Now try to build up the rest of the thread. Now do you want me to disclose the answer? No. Much prior to that, I want you to try the options instead of listening to me and wait for the answer. Why don't you take up a pen and try to connect these sentences? I'll give you less than a second so that you can really do it very quickly, because reading comprehension, scrambled sentences and reading comprehension, you will not get much time to think. So you have to do that, right? So now I have given you the clue. Now what is it? The next one that should come up. So is it like D A B C or D C B A? So with the clue I've given you, the option for D, it starts with the D. Now how do you really frame up the rest of the options? Now the option here you can really take is like D A B C or D C B A A or D A B C A B D or B A C D. It's like, next you have introduced, and then you can really talk about the information, like many 20 major languages and several hundred minors, and it is a home of several, like you can really talk about it. And then you can really report like million indigenous people living, and then you can say in spite of all these things, still it shares a common landmass. So you can really take up the option A, because D A B C, as we have already mentioned, you are introducing and then you are going into the detail. So first, what did you do? You did introduction, then detailing. You are giving details, and part of the details you are structuring them in order. So part of it, what is that? Here are more than 20 colleges, 20 languages, and thirdly, there are several million indigenous people. So you can give information in any order, but the information should be only after the introduction. So the last thing will be the option in spite of all this. So is it not about the detail? Though it is a detail, but what you're trying to do is, in spite of it, you are concluding kind of thing. Like you are saying, see, all these are there, but by having all this, you're taking a diversion there. So when you are getting diverted from the information, another turn, then this, because there is only one option left here, and this C will be the last option. So in that way, you can choose option A to be the answer. Next question. Often we are prone to assume that all families are like the ones we live in. No other social institution appears more universal and unchanging. So option C, sociology and anthropology have over many decades conduct field research across cultures to show how the institutions of family, marriage, and kinship are important in all societies, and yet their character is different in different societies. Right? Next, fourth, perhaps no other social entity appears more natural than the family. Perhaps no other social entity appears more natural than. Now, how do you really start? Always start with the introduction. If there is no introductory word or sentence, you can look at the introductory idea instead of introductory word. Sometimes you can say, like in the previous question, you can understand, like India is a land of something, so it is very easier for you to find out the introductory phase. But here there is no straightaway introductory point. So what can you do? You can understand the idea, you can take the idea. Now you can say no other entity appears more natural than a family. Why this one to be the first one? Why can't you take? Often we are prone to it because directly the information is given. If you take the option A as the first option to be ordered, see how it looks like. It's like you are starting the paragraph saying, we are prone to assume that all families are alike the ones we live in. So there is no proper idea. But whereas the last one sentence, if you take option D, no other social entity appears more natural. Now this appears to be natural and this appears to be general. You have to see introduction always carries a general idea first, and then it goes to the detail. See, it goes to details. Now understand, the sequence will be like this. The first always sequence will be, it introduces general idea, anything general, familiar, and then it goes to any important detail. So general idea, and details. So you have to remember that. So this is the general tip you have to follow. And then now why don't you try the answer here? Why don't you go with the with the options given, that is D A B C, A B C D, option C B A C D, D option D, D A C B. What is the answer here? Option A is the answer. Why? D A B C. Of course, the introductory sentence, no other social entity appears more. Next, often we are prone to assume that all are alike. And then D A B C. Now you can say no other social institution appears more universal and changing. Here you can see, why can't you take B as the first option? Because in that option you cannot find any any title word. Like no other social institution appears more universal and changing. Which social institution? At least in option D, you can see it. No other social entity appears more natural than family. Now you got the idea that it is about the family. But where in option B you can find any title idea or any title word? No, there is no. That is why you cannot start with the option B. So that's why D, A, B, C. You can see next sociology and anthropology have over many. Now this is the kind of information. Now it is giving you the data. First it introduced no social entity appears more natural, and then it often we assumption. What is a general assumption in the picture there? Oh, we assume that all families are alike, and then we talk about social institution appears more universal. We are generalizing still, and then we are providing the data. Sociology and social anthropology have many field research. This particular research has been done, and this is the result. Right. So to show how this institution of family or institutions of family kinship are important in societies. See, now it concludes with the data, right? So this is the information you this is how you have to structure it. Now you can go with the option A. Let's try another question. Besides this, no organ of the government can act in a manner that violates them. Option B, while ordinary legal rights are protected and enforced by ordinary law, fundamental rights are protected and guaranteed by the Constitution of the country. Now you understand, it's all about some rights and legal rights. Option 3, ordinary rights may be changed by the legislature by ordinary process of lawmaking, but a fundamental right may be only changed by amending the constitution belief. Option D, fundamental rights are different from other rights available to us. So now these are different from the other rights available. Now how can you really structure it? So now the options given, DCBA, option A, DCBA, option B, DBCA, option C, DCAB, option D, ACDB. Now, how do you really understand it? Now, you have to look for the introductory line. Fundamental rights are different from other rights. Now, this is the introductory line. Fundamental, why? It is generalizing. Fundamental rights are different from other rights available to us. General, introducing a general idea. And now, the option we can really look about is, okay, now, options given for you are DCBA, DBCA, DCAB and ACDB. Now, what is the option you said? Yes, we thought we will go with the option B, that is DBCA, because it is structured. Now first is fundamental rights, general idea, and then while ordinary legal rights are protected and enforced by ordinary law, fundamental rights are protected and guaranteed by the Constitution of the country. Now here you are comparing. First you introduce and then you can see some comparison, right? And now the other option we can try is like ordinary rights may be changed. Now you talked about the comparison while legal rights are protected. Now in the option C you can see maybe they may be changed by the legislature of the ordinary process of lawmaking, but a fundamental right may only be changed by amending the constitution belief. Now we are further commenting on these ordinary rights. You're further commenting on that, and finally you will end up saying that besides this, no organ of the government can act in a manner that violates them. No organ of the government can act in a manner that violates them. So now you are trying to conclude it. So that is the reason you can choose the option B, that is DBCA. Now let me give you another question. You can practice effectively, and now you will understand the flow of that. At the end I will be discussing on what basis you have to take it. Once you practice it, then I'll be revealing you the tips and strategies how to arrange them in order. Next, in the West, option A, in the West, Allied forces had fought their way through southern Italy as far as Rome. In the West, Allied forces had fought their way through southern Italy as far as Rome. B. In June 1944, Germany's military position in World War II appeared hopeless. In June 1944, Germany's military position in World War II appeared hopeless. 3. In Britain, the task of amassing the men and materials for the liberation of Northern Europe had been completed. Option D. Red Army was poised to drive the Nazis back through Poland. E. The situation on the Eastern Front was catastrophic. So now what are the options? Now take a second to go through the paragraph and try to arrange them in order. Option A. In the West, Allied forces had fought. June 1944, Germany's military position appeared hopeless. C. In Britain, the task of amassing the men. Massing means gathering people and materials for the liberation of Northern Europe had been completed. The next, then, Red Army was poised to drive the Nazis back. And then the situation on the Eastern Front was catastrophic. Now, can that be the final, concluding line? Now, what are the options available? What are the options available? Option A, EDACB. EDACB, that is the situation on the Eastern Front was catastrophic. This can be the first one. And then EDABC. So the Red Army was poised. Can that be the order? No. Next, option B, BEDAC. Now just take a look at BEDAC. Now in June 1944, Germany's military position in World War II appeared hopeless. Now this will act as the introductory line because you are introducing the situation. Here it is about the history. So you are introducing the event situation. So you will be talking about what exactly happened. You are giving the date, you are giving the time in June. Which country's military position? Germany's military position. Where in World War II? What happened? Hopeless. So now you have what, where, when, and why. Now you have every detail in the what, when did it, when, okay, and who is the party and what happened, where it happened. See, you have all 5 whys there: why, what, when, who, and which happened, when did it happen. So when you talk about, now you have that this can be the effective. Next, E will be that. Next, the situation on the Eastern Front. Now we are introducing this is the situation, so it is all catastrophic. Next, D. Now, what is the D option? The Red Army was poised to drive the. You are structuring the events of the history. For that, you need to have some kind of historical, clue or kind of historical connection should be made, and then it will be very easy. If you find out the introductory line, then you have to go first. You have to find out the introductory line, and then go to the conclusion. In between detail, you can bridge with details. It is as simple as that. So the option you can go is B, because BED we looked at BEDAC, BEDAC. And in the West, Allied forces had fought their way A, and then finally you can end with in Britain the task of amassing. Finally, what happened in Britain? They gathered men and materials, and the movement or this task had been completed. So it is concluded now. Now it is finished. So you can understand that here you can end. So that is why you can take the option B. Another question. Experts such as Larry Burns, head of research of GM, reckon that only such a full-hearted leap will allow the world to cope with the mass motorization that will one day come to China or India. Now we'll take a look at all the options. It seems to be a lengthy paragraph, but still it is very easy. You can understand if you know some tips how you can really find out. First, find out the introductory line, and then go to the conclusion. In between, you can bridge with the details. So take a look at it so that I'll show you the options, and then we can go to the answer. But once hydrogen is being produced from biomass are extracted from underground, coal or made from water using nuclear or renewable electricity, the way will be open for a huge reduction in carbon emissions from the whole system. So you can understand all these things. Now the options given: A, B, C, D, A, C, E, D, B, A, B, C, E, B, D, A, C, A, E, D, B, C, D, ACEBD. What is the right answer? A is the right answer. What is the A here? CEDBA. Why C is the first one? See, in theory, once all the bugs have been sorted out, fuel cells should deliver better fuel. See, this acts as the introductory sense. See, in theory, once all the bugs, see, it has what happened once bugs have been sorted out and fuel should deliver better. You can understand neatly, presented argument. Okay, and then what is the option? CEBDA, right? CEDBA can be CEDBA. Next option, allowing for the resources needed to extract hydrogen from hydrocarbon oil, coal, gas, or fuel has an efficiency. So in this theory, once bugs have been sorted out, allowing for the resources needed to extract hydrogen. Now you are talking how these can be well organized. So now one thing happened, but they have been sorted out. So by allowing these resources needed to extract hydrogen from this, and the fuel cell has now what it is talking about the efficiency by 30%, right? So now you have to understand it is very easier for you once you get the introductory line. So that's how you can understand. Now D, that is twice as good as the internal combustion. Now you understood. Now you talked about allowing for these are this is the efficiency can be much better, and now you can really think about this is twice as good as the internal. You are talking, so doing this is better. So that's how you have to arrange the answer. So once you get the clue, you can neatly structure it. Another question. The two neighbors never fought each other. B. Fights involving 3 male fiddler crabs have been recorded, but the status of the participants was unknown. They pushed or grappled only with the intruder. Next, we recorded 17 cases in which a resident was fighting an intruder. So all these are options. Now these are the options: BEDAC, DEBAC, BDCAE, and BCEDA. Now understand. Now the two neighbors never fought each other. See, they never fought each other. Fights involving 3 male fiddler crabs have been recorded, but the status of the participants, their status is not known. And now what? They pushed or grappled only with the intruder. Now this is the statement like so far they haven't, but that happened only because of the intruder. So we recorded 17 cases in which a resident that was fighting an intruder was accompanied by an immediate neighbor, and we therefore tracked 268 intruder males until we saw them fighting a resident male. Take 2 seconds to go through, browse through, and to look through the passage. I'll show you the options. Two neighbors never fought. Fights involving 3 male fiddler crabs have been recorded. They pushed. What happened? They pushed and grappled with the intruder. Next, what happened? We recorded 17 cases in which a resident that was fighting an intruder was joined by an immediate neighbor, and therefore tracked 268 intruder males. Now, options given: BEDAC, DEBAC, BDCAE, and BCEDA. What is the option? Option A is the answer. What is the option? BEDAC. BEDAC. Now, what is the sequence? Why BEDAC acted as the answer? Fights involving 3 introducing male fiddler crabs. BEDAC, right? So now when you go with the option BEDAC, now the next option is we therefore tracked. Now something happened. Fights, they're introducing the fight. Okay, what happened? Who were involved? Fight happened and 3 male fiddler crabs have been recorded. Okay, and now what? Now they're talking about the details. Therefore, they tracked 268 intruder. Okay, next BEDAC. Next option D. We recorded 17 cases in which a resident that was fighting an intruder. Now further it is progressing. They were, the group was joined by an immediate neighbor. BEDAC. The two neighbors. Now we talked about the immediate neighbor, and now they are further commenting on that neighbor. What is that? The two neighbors never fought. Okay, so finally what happened, they pushed or grappled with only because of them. This is a conclusory sentence, so you can go with the option A, right? So you don't have to now how do you really choose it? What are some tips you can really think of when you are doing these passages? Now, number one, what you have to do is you have to understand, always you have to arrange something which is very which is jumbled. Now, tip one is like find reading comprehension and this paragraph jumbling or jumbled sentence sometimes share common features, but here in when you look at this jumbled sentence, the first thing what you have to notice is you have to notice, number one is that whether this introduces the main idea or not. This is very important. Now look for the main idea. Tip number one is look for the introductory sentence and then go for the conclusion, and in between you look for the details. So what are the details? It should be again structured. Now, war happened somewhere in India, and now who were the people and what did they do, and finally the conclusion should be like, because of this these many lives were were lost. So always the last conclusion should be a conclusion, like it should show an impact, or it should show the cause, it should show the consequence. So this is very important. Either it should report the consequence, or it should talk about the moral or the lesson of something. So when you talk about the impact or anything about any consequence or result of something, it will be the last one. First will be the general idea. So the introductory line will have one general idea. So that is the easy clue for you. And then you can really go for the details. The details can, again, ma'am, if you ask, ma'am, how do we really understand the sequence of the detail? You understand the sequence of the detail by the progression or the regression. Progression means what happened next. As a result, what happened. So it should lead to the conclusion. The progression should lead to the conclusion. So that is how you have to identify the sequence. And it is very easy once you know the structure of a story. What happens? There lived a prince. Okay, for example, if this is it, there lived a prince. And the prince was very happy ruling the country, and now he got married. Now they have children. For example, the prince, he gets married and he has 3 children, and now they see the sequence. First he is there, and then he lives there, and then he gets married, and see now after marriage children, and these children will do something. See the progression of events or the progression of the details. So that is how you will find out the sequence answer. Right. Now, 94th question. Now here we are now talking about the closest meaning to the given word. Now till now we discussed jumbled sentences. Now we will look at some synonyms. Choose the correct option which shows the closest meaning to the word. In your question paper, there will be a few jumbled sentences, questions on jumbled sentences. There will be some questions on synonyms. There will be some questions on paragraph incompletion. You have to complete it. So all these questions will be there in your question paper. Choose the correct option which shows the closest means it is all about synonyms. So now sponsor, it is very easy. Sponsor, options given: opposition, innocent, dilute, backup. What is this opposition? There is no opposition, opposite ideas or some force. Opposition means like they reject, they stand in opposition, they stand against something. So it is not sponsor, is not sponsoring or sponsorer. Who is like sponsor means you give something. Innocent, it is nothing to do with innocence. Innocent or being innocent is very, being very ignorant of something, and very clean and pure without knowing anything. Delude means like you make them believe something which is not true. Delusion we call it as. So that is what. Backer is somebody who contributes something. So it will go with the option baker. Like sponsor means somebody who gives, and baker is also somebody who contributes. So option D can be the answer. Now take a look at it. Backer is a person or that gives or support to someone, especially financial support. Next, 95th question. Fill in the blanks by selecting the correct option. That means here the grammar question is there. Earlier question was synonym. Now see, now you have to choose the right grammar structure. Nick gave all his books to Nikki since he them anymore. Nick gave all his books to Nikki since he them anymore. Now how do you understand this? Now what is the structure? Let's try all the options and see. Nick gave all his books to Nikki since he will use them anymore. If you use them, then there won't anymore is no, he's not going to do it anymore, a kind of negative connotation. So if you keep the option will use them anymore, then you don't have to use the word anymore. So option 1 will not be the answer. Next, option 2, will not use. Nikki gave all his books to Nikki since he will not use. Gave is in past tense. See, Nick gave all his books is in past tense. Since he will not use them anymore is in future tense. So you will not take the option. We will not do that. Next, option C. Nikki gave all his books to Nick gave all his books to Nikki since he doesn't use them anymore. Hold on. Option 4. Nick gave all his books to Nikki since he not use them. Not use is, there is no grammar involved there. It's just an isolated phrase. So it doesn't show any tense there. So that's the reason not possessing proper grammar structure. So obviously option C will be the answer. Nick gave all his books to Nikki since he doesn't use anything. So the option will be what is this? Option C. 3, that is doesn't use. Why doesn't? Because he gave all his books, because he doesn't, even in future he will not. Then you can ask, ma'am, why can't you use will not use? Here when you are reporting, it doesn't use is in simple present tense. Simple present. You are not using this future case here. You are using simple present. That means he will not use anything. Though that meaning is conveyed, but you will not use will as the tense, but future tense, but you will use general simple present tense. He doesn't use it anymore. Keep it simple and you can use simple present tense, and option C will be the right answer. Next, another question. It was very kind of you to the invitation as a chief guest for the meeting. It was very kind of you to the invitation as a chief guest for the meeting. Now what is the option? Accept, concur, comply. So it was very kind of you. It is all about some invitation. Kind of you to what? Accept the invitation. What is this exception or accept? Accept is something that it's an occasion. Accept that, other than this, accept this is not included. This one is not included, except this. So this obviously is nothing related. It is not related to this acceptance. Obviously accept. It's very kind of you to accept the invitation. Obviously receiving the invitation as a chief guest. This will be the answer. And why not conquer and comply? Conquer is what? Comply means what? It is not agreement. Comply, giving. Is going with, comply, doing something, fulfilling. Conquer is something related to agreement. So obviously it's nothing related to agreement or anything like that. So obviously it is all related to acceptance, receiving something. That is why it is very kind of you to accept the invitation, not ECEPT, but it is ACCEPT. Accept, receiving the invitation. That is the sense, acceptance. Next, 97th question. Select the option that is most nearly similar in meaning to the given word. Select the option that is most nearly similar in meaning to the given word. So, again, synonym that you have to really look for. He was assiduous working at this task for weeks before he felt dissatisfied with his result. He was assiduous working at this task for weeks before he felt satisfied with his results. Now we have to understand what is the meaning of the word assiduous. Assiduous means what? If you know this, then obviously you can find out the synonym. That's what they asked for. You have to find out another word which is similar, to the given word. Assiduous working at this task means somebody who is very sincerely, diligently working. Now you can understand the answer very easily. If you do not know the meaning of the word which is given in the question, then it may be you may have to find some problem to find out or identifying the answer. So you may find it very difficult if you do not understand the question word properly. Assiduous, if you know the meaning, then now look for the answer very easy. He was very assiduous, hardworking at this task for weeks before he felt satisfied. Then now option 1 active, option 2 free, option 3 unoccupied, 4D idle is obviously an opposite word, not working. Active is of course near, and free is not being free, relieved from that. Obviously he was assiduous working at this task for weeks is something, rigorous hard work that is involved. And occupied is nothing, that is it. Unoccupied is not occupied, so it is not related to that. Obviously assiduous, that is constant in application or attention, so that is what. Persistent, active, seeking continuously without giving up. Obviously option 1 will be the answer. Now we will look at one more type of question. It is again related to grammar, that is like active and passive voice, and how you can really deal with it, and how you can really go with this question, and what are some tips. Now you can say identify the voice in the given sentence and translate it accordingly, active or passive voice. So this will be the question, and you have to understand the voice first and then discuss the answer. We will discuss and practice these voice questions in the next session. So until then, practice these questions. Like what did we do in this session? We discussed synonyms and jumbled sentences. That is para structuring or jumbling, arranging them in an order. So that is the sequence. So you have to find out the sequence, and you have to come up with the answer, right? So that is the task for you today. Now you sit and work out on the questions, that the paragraphs which are not in any order. So find out, pick them, and then try to give the structure to it. In the next session, we will look at active and passive voice and some more other grammar related topics. Until then, keep practicing. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.